Men of Reddit, what's the hardest thing to explain to women? When you ask me how my day was or what I did today, nothing in my day usually stands out as special, so I just don't remember. I usually don't remember what I do, I just live. The concept of post-nut clarity, and the related power your boner has over you. Men, am I alone in knowing that you shouldn't text any woman if you're frisky jerking off? I text anyone I would normally, and I have done some bad things due to boner brain, but I stick to talking to my girlfriend. My main concern is using the search bar on Pornhub. Stick to the usual. Do not experiment when you're frisky, you will cry after you nut. I'm seriously not checking you out every time you walk by in the office. I turn my head for dang near everything that enters my periphery. You're really not that special. This makes me so freaking self-conscious in the gym. Every time someone walks past I look, especially in the mirrors, and I always catch the eye of a girl probably thinking I'm checking her out. I really don't want to be seen as that creepy guy making girls at the gym uncomfortable. It's literally the last thing I'm thinking about. When we say we need time or space, that's exactly what we need. It's not code for you need to try harder. Very often, we say something at its face value with no double meaning or alternative meaning behind it. It's women who ask me, what did you mean when you said that? I said asked exactly what I meant. If wanted to state it differently, I would have done so. Some of us aren't always so articulate though. Oftentimes, I say something then realize way later that it could have come across wrong. Too clean for the hamper, too dirty for the drawer. That's why I put my cargo shorts on the floor. I have a spot in the closet hidden from my wonderful but short wife where pants go for further use. When we say we don't care, we really don't care. Yes, we can have an opinion on something, but when we say we don't care, that means our opinion isn't strong enough to sway us either way on something. I learned to say I don't have a preference. That always seems to come across better. That sometimes we need personal space and it has nothing to do with our opinion of you. Sometimes an erection just happens. We don't control the thing. It's a physical response that could literally be from nothing. I accidentally walked into a door the other day and I got rock hard. We appreciate women making the first move. Making the first move feels like stepping on eggshells. I don't always want to be the one that initiates fricking. It makes me feel like a creep. It doesn't necessarily make me feel like a creep, but it makes me think the girl doesn't actually want intercourse most of the time. When a girl does ask for intercourse or initiates it in her own way, it makes it so much more fun for me and takes out a lot of the anxiety and stress that sometimes surrounds intercourse in a relationship, because it really does feel like a two-sided give and receive situation. Pee at an angle. Or the vaunted split stream, usually post-erection. Sometimes, this is me personally, so I can't say it's common. The struggle not to share emotions isn't as much the worry of backlash from society or friends, etc. It's more just a conflict within ourselves to verbalize and come out with it. I trust my friends with respecting how I feel, I just can't get it out because I'm fighting myself. Well, sometimes I want to express my feelings and the maximum thing I can get out of it is 2 sentences. Sometimes we could use a hug. Or at least a high five. That the reason I shake the gas pump the amount of time I do after I finish pumping gas is the same reason I shake my dong after I pee. It's just good sense. I really want to see if we'll get along well enough to date, but I'm horrible at maintaining a conversation without being too safe or too out there. I'm just horrible at maintaining conversations at all. How much compliments mean to us? It's a different type of happy when a guy gets complimented. Sometimes I'm just frisky, but in a committed relationship, sometimes I look at you and I'm just so in love that I want to be as close and intimate with you as I can, which is intercourse. My ex and I had different love languages, and she would worry that I don't love her as much as she loves me, which was just crazy because I was head over heels for her at all times. Trying to explain that really close, lovey intercourse was one of the ways I showed her exactly how deeply I was in love with her, but she didn't get it. We're still a human, so that means we have feelings too. So please take care when choosing your words when you're arguing with us. My ex would say horrible things when fighting, then wonder why I was not in the mood to frick her for a few days afterwards. Seriously, I have learned to hate teachers that would teach the sticks and stones rhyme, because the truth is stick and stones can break bones and harsh words will fricking destroy your self-esteem for years, requiring mental counseling, and even then you might never heal. As much as we're seen as lust crazed pigs, we talk so little about women when we get together for drinks or something like that. And when we do, the topic doesn't last long. Literally can't even remember when was the last time me and my best bud talked about women. We're both single too. Just usually talking about our old friends from school and what they're doing, cars, our jobs, sport, or politics occasionally. That just because I'm quiet in your presence doesn't mean I'm upset. Just means I'm either tired, don't have anything to say, or I'm thinking about something. Yay dude, I feel this one. My default state is sitting quietly. My roommate, however, feels the need to fill every silence she encounters with words. I think that she interprets my quietness as me not wanting to talk to her, when in reality I just have nothing to say at the moment. The specifics of nod code. It's easy to say up if you know them, down if you don't, but the exact meaning of the downward nod is hard to translate. It's seeing them, acknowledging them, and saying that neither of us have any issue with each other. I have to constantly explain to my wife why my 2-year-old son is obsessed with his dong. I have to explain why he always wants to touch it and grab it when his diaper is off. She will never understand why our baby and his father share this habit. Why I don't know what the frick my best friend is up to in life even after hanging out with him all day. The feeling of getting kicked in the nuts or straight up right in the shaft that immobilizes you and leaves you in fetal position with the feeling of needing to throw up while at the same time having sharp radiating pain from your butthole through your neck. Also, it's a delayed reaction. You only start to feel real pain in about 5 seconds. That just because I'm a guy doesn't mean I don't care. I've had women talk to me about guys losing their hair. He's a guy so he doesn't care. I know a lot of guys who hate being bald or the fact that they are balding and their hair is thinning and hairline is receding. This idea that we don't care or don't care about our looks because we are a guy is ridiculous. I really hate how much hair I've lost. I mean, daily, multiple times a day. That men can sit for hours talking and talk about nothing. And it is really okay to interrupt us from talking for hours about things that we seem to understand but really have no freaking clue whatsoever. We will likely to pick it up again next weekend and continue our discussion. Why we bottle our emotions up. An itch on my dong is way worse than an itch anywhere else. An itching dong on a children's playground is one of life's worst pranks. I think it is hard to explain to my wife how much I love her and the kids. I feel like words are not enough and I work a lot, but I wish my feelings could just be transferred so she understands. We'd love to be able to share what is really on our minds, intimate and non-intimate and every topic and viewpoint under the sun, except we're afraid of the relationship consequences. I find myself in this situation too, which I see it as a bad match. If I can't share everything I'm thinking about without an argument or even an agree to disagree situation, it's not a good relationship. You can be so hot we get erectile dysfunction temporarily, usually performance anxiety, but I've had it happen where a girl dropped her clothes and she was so hot I got nervous and couldn't perform. It sounds like us making you feel better. It's not. And on today's episode of How Am I Going to Frick This Up? Most of us don't get complimented, so if you do give us one we'll remember it forever. One time after getting a haircut and wearing a rather nice new outfit, I was shopping at Target. The 5-foot-tall middle-aged Hispanic checker smiled and said, "You look like a model." I blushed and stuttered out a thank you. This was like 5 years ago. For reference, I do not know have I ever looked like a model. My words don't have some secret meaning behind it. If I say X, I mean X, not some random thing or insult you come up with. Sometimes I'm not in an emotional or mental state to be ready for the bedroom. I need romance to get me there sometimes too. It's okay to just tell me where you want to eat. You can pop a boner without being aroused. You can get a boner even when you are nervous. Heck, sometimes I can't get a boner when I'm aroused. And sometimes I get one because I'm hungry. Sometimes I'll get a boner due to boredom, like my body just senses it and goes, here buddy, play with this. Boners are weird. The fact that we can ride in a car with another man for 5 hours and not say a word drives my wife crazy. I drove 400 miles with my father to go see my sister, and most of our conversation topics were about when we will stop and eat something and how good our meals were. That we don't know every detail about everyone else in my life. When I mention I hung out with someone, my mom will ask me what their wife does for a living and can't understand that it didn't come up in conversation. No, you do not have superpowers that give you the ability to read my mind. Hearing you think makes my skin crawl. I feel this one. I have a friend who constantly assumes she knows what I'm thinking or how I feel about something based on one or two offhand comments I've made about the subject, and it's always way off. I can only imagine what kind of mental picture she has of me based on her own projections and assumptions. Why I have peed in my backyard are surprisingly high. Her words, number of times. Yet more reasons to want a backyard. Just because I'm attracted to you doesn't mean I want to frick you. Some girls say guys only care about intercourse. It's really annoying. I mean, we want to get to know people. Why does it get brushed as indirect advances? When you say, does this outfit look okay, and we say yes, you look stunning, and you reply, well, you would say that. Half my brain thinks please believe me because you do look stunning, and the other half thinks WTF did you ask me for if you aren't going to believe me. Yeah, my wife would always say, you're supposed to say that, and I'm like, no, you really are beautiful. But apparently, if a 17-year-old boy compliments her, she'll ride his dong. I was at home when my wife and her friends got home one day from the pub. They were all giving me funny looks and smirking. I asked what was going on. They at first refused to tell me. After a little while of prodding, one of them goes, I heard all about your dong, and they all broke into laughter. I was a little taken by surprise but laughed and said something like, oh yay, hopefully all good, and they laughed, and that was the end of it. After they left, I was like, what the heck did you tell them? And my wife responded by saying how she told her friends about our vigorous romps on our honeymoon in Mexico, apparently in great detail. We were there for a week and probably fricked about 3 times a day. We were both pretty sore when we got home. We had an all-inclusive, so we ended up getting day drunk and got pretty physical with each other as you do on a honeymoon. She was like, whatever, you probably tell your friends all about us when it's just the boys. I don't know about you guys, but the extent of what I ever say is usually a raised eyebrow and something like, AWW yay booey. I have never once described my wife's body to a single one of my friends. Nothing in detail about any of my intimate partners from before my wife, and it blew her mind. Apparently girls talk in great detail about it. Guys usually don't, and they assume we do, and we assume they don't. Don't pee next to someone at the urinals. Always have a space between you and them. The unspoken rule that 99% of us somehow knew from the time we were little kids, even without someone telling us. My legs aren't spread to show dominance. They're spread because my scrotum is sticking to my thigh and it's super uncomfortable, but less uncomfortable than explaining this in public. Like this video and this good boy will play you a nice song. Like and subscribe, you magnificent person.